8 new fighting machines. Some brand new, some very new, and a significant upgrade. With fan favourite veteran robots to cut them down to size, this is the ultimate test. It's initiation. Hello and welcome to the 8th Wars. Yes, it's the long one. We are filming the entire tournament and we are starting off with 15 fights in one episode, introducing our new robots. And the worst ones are going to have to qualify in qualifying matches at the end. I think it's probably about time that I explain something that I haven't explained before, and that's the concept of removable panels. Every robot has 2 or 3 removable panels, and if all of them are removed, they lose the fight. And we do this because these robots are just toys, and we need a way to simulate damage without damaging them for real, because if we damage them for real, I have to fix them. Most of this is going to be testing our new robots. We'll have 12 fights, most of them one-on-one, but for some of them, we'll have some all-star robots to make sure that the new ones don't get too big for their boots. In a fight, you get 3 points if you win by knockout and 0 if you lose. You get 2 points for winning in a judge's decision and 1 point by losing in a judge's decision. The scoring does work a little bit differently in a 3-way fight, but I'll explain that later. And now we go to our first fight. On the left, we have Ethel, and on the right, we have Tremor. 3, 2, 1, activate. Ethel's struggling to move a bit. Oh, no, they're fine. Oh, but now it's Tremor that's having movement issues. They are fine now. Let's hope that they figured it out permanently. Fun fact, Tremor is based off of Shockwave from Robot Wars, and Ethel is completely original. Now that they've got their issues sorted out, it's nice to see the complete newcomers actually having a good back and forth fight here. Oh no, Ethel has got her axe stuck. And they've been pushed down the pit. Very disappointing for the googly-eyed robot. And that means that Tremor has moved up to 3 points in first place because there haven't been any other battles. Although that will be fixed when Weetabix fights Warbird X. 3, 2, 1, activate. Speaking of removable panels, Warbird X only has 2 and the flappy bits on the side of the Weetabix are it. They appear to be stuck, and when that happens, that does disable Warbird X's weapon, which is bad for it. Oh, and that's Weetabix flipping Warbird X. Glad to know that their weapon works. Oh, and that's one of Warbird X's panels off. They've only got one left now. You can really see the inexperience of the driver of Warbird X here. Strangely driving themselves into the corner, which Weetabix doesn't appear to be capitalising on very well. Weetabix just looks a bit confused as to the weird flailing of their opponent. They now do appear to be doing a good job at avoiding Weetabix, obviously not causing any damage to the very vulnerable panels that are literally made of cardboard. Weetabix doesn't appear to be making very good use of that flipper as one of their panels is coming loose. Actually no, that is one panel off from Weetabix as they flip Warbird X. Both robots actually making use of their weapon here. Warbird X actually going on the offensive here in a way that's quite difficult for Weetabix to make a counter-attack. Warbird X doesn't appear to be aware that in order for their spinner to get up to speed, they need to be away from their opponent. Quite a good flip there from Weetabix, but not actually causing any damage. What you didn't see here was Warbird X's last panel being removed. Ceases called Weetabix wins. And now we can see that Weetabix has moved up to the top of the leaderboard. And now we have our first all-star appearance as the 4th seeds and 6th Wars champions Whiplash are going to be intervening against Pants and Mad Catter. 3, 2, 1, activate. Obviously, Whiplash has no stake here, so their only job is to kill, kill, kill. which they appear to be doing rather well, seeing as they've taken off Mad Catter's back panel. Whiplash escaping from the clutches of Pants there. Oh, and another big hit from Whiplash. They've taken off one of Mad Catter's side panels, and yet more of those little teeth at the front of Pants. Although it appears that Whiplash's front 2 panels have gone off by ramming into the corner. Very bad from them. They've only got 1 left now. Mad Catter's so close to the pit. Oh my god. Very good lift by Whiplash on Pants. And another one just as Pants proves that their weapon does in fact work.
Lego robots are so fun, aren't they, when their pieces litter the arena?
Mad Catter is obviously from Battlebots, and Pants is based off of a little ant-weight robot from the ant-weight tournaments in Robot Wars. Hold on, what's this? Somehow Pants has managed to trap Whiplash with their axe. Although luckily Whiplash has managed to move their lifter again, so now they're free. You guys won't be able to hear this, but there has been a weird beeping sound coming from Pants, and that means that their weapon isn't particularly in the best of shape. Another good lift by Whiplash. Mad Catter still hanging on, but the main fight does appear to be between Pants and Whiplash. Whiplash failing to get those panels. Mad Catter again being pushed dangerously close to the pit. Pants doesn't seem to have fired that axe in a while. Is it okay? Oh, yes it is. That's Mad Catter's last panel gone. That means they're out. It is just Pants and Whiplash left. Although it does look like it might go Dodger's decision. And oh no, that is Whiplash very close to the pit but managing to escape. Realistically, the only thing Whiplash can do in this time is to pit Pants. As we get closer and closer to a judge's decision, it does seem like Pants are standing their ground. Oh, and Pants' axe has fallen off. This is obviously okay because it's made of Lego, but this is serious damage that's been caused by Whiplash.
Two, one, cease!
So it's probably best that I explain the 3 robots scoring here. So, not going out first gives a robot 1 bonus point, and for the remaining 2 it is treated like a normal one-on-one fight. So if it was a knockout, the winner would get 4 and the loser would get 1, but if it was a judge's decision, the winner would get 3 and the loser would get 2, and the robot that went out first would get 0 in either case. Obviously this time it was a judge's decision, as it did go the full 3 minutes, and it was fairly obvious that Whiplash won. As Whiplash wasn't properly competing and therefore isn't on the scoreboard, they don't get any points. Mad Catter still gets 0 as they went out first, but Pants, as they lost the judge's decision, still does get 2 points. And now it's the last 2 robots that we need to introduce. On the left we have Waddledee Mini, and on the right we have Endgame. 3, 2, 1, activate. Endgame is obviously from Battlebots, who has just taken off a panel from Waddledee Mini. Waddledee Mini is based off of Waddledee Meta from Lego Wars, and now they're out. Well, that was a nice easy 3 points for up-and-coming star Endgame. And now poor Ethel is going to fight Weetabix. 3, 2, 1, activate. Both robots proving they can move right off the bat. It's a good start. Ethel pushing Weetabix into the side wall, but then responding with a flip. Very nice. Ethel dangerously close to the pit. It and robots like it are generally not very good in this situation. Weetabix biding their time. Ethel not really moving. Both robots now standing still. I wonder why. Ethel spinning themselves nearly in the pit but managing to escape. Weetabix making very good use of that new flipper. Although they have lost one of their panels, and that's one from Ethel as well. Looks like they're trying to flip Ethel out of the arena. I wonder if the flip is actually powerful enough for that. Poor Ethel being bullied around the arena. This just isn't fair for them. More and more flips from Weetabix. Ethel just can't get under them. Ethel going on the counter attack with those axe shots, but they just can't do anything to them. No matter where Ethel goes, Weetabix is just able to get under them.
Oh my god.
That's Ethel's front wedge gone, and that's supposed to be the hardest panel to take off, and Weetabix has done it with ease. Hopefully Ethel knows that they can surf, right? Yep, they do. Somehow Weetabix is mounted onto Ethel despite not having a wedge, pushing them into the side wall. Weetabix has flipped Ethel whilst they've lost another panel. Weetabix obviously being the third iteration of robots made out of Weetabix boxes. This one being the first one with a flipper, the other two had a rather lackluster spinner. This version being a nearly complete overhaul from Weetabix, having nearly no external panels carried over from the last one. Ethel on their side, can they self-right? They can. Ethel stuck in the corner, Weetabix just sort of flicking their axe up for them. Weetabix very close to getting Ethel out of the arena, but they have failed. Oh, and that's Ethel's last panel. Weetabix wins.
Cease.
Very dominant display from Weetabix, putting them up to 6 points in first place. Now we have another triple robot fight. So at the top we have Tremor, on the left we have Waddledee Mini, and at the bottom we have fan favourites Duck. 3, 2, 1, activate. All three getting straight in there. Tremor attacking Waddledee Mini. Duck now going after Tremor. You will notice that they are suspiciously similar. I just ask you to suspend your disbelief. Oh, that was just Waddledee Mini taking off one of Duck's wheels. That leaves them very difficult to move. Tremor mounted on Duck. Duck pushes Tremor into the pit and they're out, leaving Waddledee Mini their only opponent. Although they do appear to be stuck, although Waddledee Mini has just freed them. Very bad tactics. Duck now stuck on the edge of the pit again. Is Waddledee Mini smart enough to push them in? Duck freeing themselves and getting stuck even worse than last time. Waddledee Mini still failing to capitalise on this.
Do you know what you do to Duck when they're stuck? That's what, that one's not Duck.
They just don't know how to control their robot. It's not a good sign. And now they're the ones on the verge of the pit while Duck has magically managed to free themselves yet again. Duck now dancing around the arena, possibly in an attempt to get them in the pit, or just, you know, out of lack of control. Waddledee Mini's just given up, they turn the weapon off. Waddledee Mini is not technically in the pit, so technically they are still in the fight. Duck inching ever closer to the pit, trying to get them in. And they succeed. Cease. And because that was a knockout, the only points that are gained is just 1 point to Waddledee Mini for not going out first. And now Pants will fight Endgame. 3, 2, 1, activate. Good start for Endgame, getting under Pants, he fires their axe. Endgame getting under them again. Oh, that's a tiny little piece of Lego off of Pants, very fun. Endgame failing to push Pants there, probably because they're so big and the wheels are so huge. Although Pants' back panel is removable, Endgame is failing to do so. Those are quite strong. This is the advantage of Lego robots, you see.
I know.
Endgame trying to get Pants in the pit, but they are not having it. And that's another Lego piece off of Pants. This is a rather boring fight.
There's another one.
Endgame seems to try to be ramming them into the pit. good hit from Pants right in that little weapon shaft. Not really using the axe beforehand though. Poor Pants has only got 2 little things on their wedge left. Pants really needs to be using that weapon more. Endgame responding to that axe shot by pushing Pants around. This is surprising because Lego robots are very good at pushing, but Endgame can do it better than them. As we near the final minute of the fight, it doesn't look like there's going to be much for the judges to go by with damage. Pants is one little bit sticking out like a tooth of a weird child. Oh, Endgame flirting with the brink of the pit of oblivion. They have managed to escape. Oh, that is Pants' side panel off. This is very good for Endgame, seeing as this is the only piece of non-superficial damage in this fight. Pants desperately hitting them with that axe, because they know it's the end if they can't cause any real damage. This is the kind of bad treatment that Pants deserves. Because they're Pants. It appears that that hit with the axe was very costly for Pants as they're being pushed very close to the pit.
10 seconds. Yeah.
And it does look like it is going to go to judges' decision as we go to 3, 2, 1, cease. Judges' decisions are based on damage, control and aggression, and I think it was fairly obvious that Endgame won all of these categories. So that gives Endgame 2 points and Pants 1. And it's all to play for in the next fight as Mad Catter and Warbird X are both on 0. 3, 2, 1, activate. Both robots very cautious, avoiding each other until now. Mad Catter taking off only 1 of 2 panels and driving straight into the pit. Cease. Following that embarrassing display from Mad Catter, Endgame and Weetabix are trying to not be put in their place by the number 2 seeds 2 Jeff 2 Ordinary. 3, 2, 1, activate. 2 Jeff 2 Ordinary immediately taking off a panel from the previously unstoppable Weetabix. Then with their own panel falling off themselves. And now Weetabix is on their last panel. This is not looking good for them. Although it doesn't really seem to want to fall off. Oh, 2 Jeff 2 Ordinary has taken off one of Endgame's front panels and torn it apart. Now they've taken off the other front panel, leaving them on 1 left. But it has actually jammed up their spinner, although it has now been removed. I'd say quite poor tactics from Endgame trying to take that off. And that's another panel off of Ordinary Jeff. Wait, that's actually Weetabix's last panel gone. They're out now. First. It is now only Endgame left against the former runners-up. Successfully pushing them into the corner there, that's very controlling. This control also stops 2 Jeff 2 Ordinary Spinner from getting up to speed, which means that they can't damage Endgame nearly as much. You may ask yourself, what makes 2 Jeff 2 Ordinary different from Ordinary Jeff? The answer is, it is more pink than before. 2 Jeff 2 Ordinary appeared to be high centered on their own panel there, but I think they are now okay. Endgame being very tactical, refusing to let 2 Jeff 2 Ordinary get to their vulnerable backside. Big hit there. Is it just me, or is that top panel from Ordinary Jeff looking a bit loose? This is very impressive, seeing as Endgame is standing up to a robot that could only be beaten by Hypershock in the grand final. Both robots doing hit after hit, but none of them have been able to take off the other one's last panel. It's probably time to start analysing who's being more controlling, who's being more aggressive. This probably is going to go to judge's decision. Oh, Endgame too close to the pit there. Endgame seems to be failing at protecting their back panel from 2Jeff2 Ordinary in the closing seconds of the fight. This could go badly for them in the imminent judge's decision. And you gotta remember that 2Jeff2 Ordinary took off most of 3Bix's panels and tore one of Endgame's apart, like needing super glue apart. Ordinary Jeff vertical on the sidewall, but I think it's too late.
Cease!
So, how judge's decision works, if you haven't watched the videos where I've explained it before, there are 3 points for control, 3 points for aggression, and 5 points for damage. These points are shared between the robots, so it will always add up to 11. Now, in this judge's decision, Endgame was considered more controlling, and 2Jeff2 Ordinary was considered more aggressive, giving them 3 points each. And due to their attacks on 3Bix, 2Jeff2 Ordinary was considered more damaging, which means that they win. This means that Endgame gets 2 points and 3Bix gets none. This puts Endgame at the top of the leaderboard. And now Pants is going to be fighting Waddledee Mini. 3, 2, 1, activate. Waddledee Mini's panel has fallen off in that collision. It is normal for robots like it, but it only has 2. This is a major weakness for it. Pants as impervious to harm as ever. Waddledee Mini is just sort of bouncing off of them like some kind of useless robot. If Pants can't take off this panel, I think this is going to be a long one, folks. Pants failing to use that axe. Is it broken or are they stupid? Not really that much of an interesting fight. It's already been a minute and nothing's happened. Now we see the axe, although it is making the beeping sound. Pants putting Waddledee Mini in the corner and hitting them several times with an axe as they run away like a scared little child. Waddledee Mini appears to be making the mistake of luring Pants into the pit, and yeah, they've just pushed them down. Cease. That 500 IQ play from Waddledee Mini means that Pants is now up to 6 points. And now we have our last one-on-one fight. We have Tremor versus Mad Catter. 3, 2, 1, activate. Nice push from Mad Catter and a horrible sound.
Both of these robots are very low on points. They need to get something going for them. Oh no. Oh, poor Tremor. Oh no.
Cease. And now for our last fight before the qualifiers. Ethel's still on 0, but they've still got a chance to get more than 0. Unfortunately, their main obstacle in getting these points is the reigning champion, Hypershock. 3, 2, 1, activate. And that's 2 of Ethel's panels gone already. It doesn't seem like they're going to be getting that point after all. And Hypershock nearly falls down the pit. They're known for doing this, but not this time. Oh, Ethel trying their very hardest with their axe to try and take off some of Warbird X's panels, but so far unsuccessful. I think that they recognise that their main priority is not losing that last panel. That panel must be facing away from Hypershock at all times. That little axe bit that just came off of Warbird X, that's not actually a removable panel, although one of their removable panels has come off now. Ethel pushed against the corner, now even worse. This could be very bad for them. Although Hypershock has now let them go. Are they going after Warbird X? It seems not. Oh, and that's Warbird X's last panel. That means that Ethel gets at least 1 point. Joint last place instead of actual last place isn't that bad. Now that they know that they're not last place and that they're the only target, they're now comfortable being a bit more aggressive, although it doesn't seem to do anything at the moment. Backing away now. Is Hypershock having some control issues right now? No, it does look like Hypershock is fine. Although Ethel is hitting Hypershock with their axe lots of times, I would say that Hypershock is still being more aggressive. And at some point during this, Ethel's last panel was taken off.
Cease.
Now, despite getting that 1 point, Ethel is still in the bottom 2, which means that they are going to have to qualify in the qualifying matches. The reason why we need to do qualifying matches is because we have 62 robots, but only 60 slots in the tournament. So how the qualifiers work is that the 2 bottom robots from initiation, along with 4 particularly bad robots that are not in initiation, will fight in 2 three-way fights, and the 1 loser from each fight is disqualified from the tournament before it begins. And in this first qualifying match, we can see Ethel on the bottom, Agrabot on the left, and Deadly Drum on the top. 3, 2, 1, activate.
By the way, we only have 1 loser, and whoever loses does not make it into the tournament.
Yes, that's right past Alex. Now, Agrabot has never ever won a fight, although they have only existed since around the 4th or 5th wars, but Deadly Drum has been there since the start and has only ever won 1 fight, which was at some point between the 2nd and 3rd wars, so you know you're dealing with some really bad robots here. And that is both of our bad robots with only 1 panel left because they only have 2 each. I think this is the first time ever that Ethel has been particularly dominant. Realistically, it's their decision who goes out, and it appears that they are choosing Deadly Drum. Agrabot using their only advantage of low ground clearance to get under Ethel and pushing them. Hold on, is Deadly Drum immobilized, I wonder? Although they are being helped by Agrabot, who has just had their last panel taken off by Ethel. Cease. Unfortunately, that does mean that we're not going to be seeing Agrabot in the 8th wars, but Ethel is through along with Deadly Drum. And in our second and last qualifier, Waddledee Mini is going to have to either kill Plough or Citadel to get through. By the way, Plough is the one on the left and Citadel is the weird throne looking thing at the bottom. 3, 2, 1, activate. If you couldn't tell, Citadel's weapon is a flipper, which they have just used, which is very rare for them, pinning Waddledee Mini against the side wall. It was an attempt to get them out of the arena, but it has obviously failed. Plough has not really moved, although that has afforded them to stay out of the action. This is again a fight full of terrible robots. And that's one of the panels off of Plough by Waddledee Mini. And Citadel has just collapsed. They are on their back. One of their panels is off. They can't move. Oh, that's actually Plough's last panel. They've just been eliminated. Cease. And that unfortunately means that we're not going to be seeing Plough in the 8th wars. Although, just for a little treat, we've got the top 2 robots from initiation. We've got Endgame and Weetabix fighting once again just to see who's the, the actual best. 3, 2, 1, activate. Oh, panel straight off of Weetabix there. This could be Endgame's fight. Obviously, their panel has not been repaired in time. Scarily close to the pit, but Weetabix has just used their flipper to get Endgame down the pit. Cease. Well, I guess Weetabix just wins initiation. Somebody's going to have to answer for Ethel's low scores when we see you Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays in the 8th wars.